Well, guys, they call it moving day at Augusta National, and it might as well be moving day in the Atlantic Coast Conference as well. On a Sunsplash Saturday afternoon in Blacksburg, Virginia, two old rivals meeting for the 38th time. Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by Geico. Miami and Virginia Tech, the Canes ranked number 9 in the country, facing off against the Hokies from Lane Stadium. Great to have you with us. With Kelly Stoffer, I'm Roy Philpott. Eric Wood joins us on the sideline in just 1 minute. And Kelly, got two outstanding quarterbacks in this matchup in Hendon Hooker and D'Eriq King.
And two quarterbacks, Roy, probably playing the best football of their football lives. And King was absolutely off the charts last week. And Hendon Hooker quietly has been terrific the last couple of weeks as well.
Record-setting performance for D'Eriq King in a comeback win against NC State on the road. And Justin Fuente, Manny Diaz getting set for this important ACC clash. Miami won the coin toss and the Canes have deferred. We're just about set, ready to go on what has been an eventful week in college football and around the sports world already. Hokies will get it at their 25, underway in Blacksburg, Virginia. Hendon Hooker, one of the top dual threat quarterbacks in the country, and his last two games, Kelly, have been as impressive as any two in his career.
Yeah, and I think the biggest jump that he's made in the last couple of weeks is his administration at the line of scrimmage. He typically makes a great decision to get them in a very violent, incessant run game, and then it's the RPO game off of that in the pass game that Hooker is doing a terrific job with recently.
Virginia Tech off the devastating loss to Liberty a week ago. Team tried to turn the page midweek during practice. The handoff, no Khalil Herbert to start. As Raheem Blackshear's bottled up for a loss of a couple. It was Jalen Phillips that got there first, Kelly, and he lost 3 yards.
So, Roy, what we're going to see today out of Virginia Tech is a run game that really is the foundation of what they want to do offensively, and Hendon Hooker is the centerpiece of it all, rushing for over 100 yards per game.
Play action, and the RPO ran to perfection. Tavion Robinson with a pitch and a catch. Close to first down yardage. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Gilbert Frierson brought him down.
And Roy, you called it exactly right. The RPO game is what Hooker does best because it's the violent run game that sets the table for everything that Virginia Tech does offensively.
Officially, 3rd and a short 3. Blackshear flanking Hooker in the backfield. Hooker back to the air. Pass is high, but it's reeled in by Robinson. So 83 for Virginia Tech. Hauls in 2 catches, and the drive continues for the Hokies as Frierson appears to be banged up on the play.
A great job by Robinson catching the ball. It was high. It was a simple 3-by-1 set, 3 receivers to the right side, and it was all hitch routes just to convert and move the chains, and Robinson pulled it in.
Timeout on the field as we step aside, just underway. Back in Blacksburg, Virginia, going back to the 3rd down and 2 play that just went down, and Gilbert Frierson appeared to be injured before the snap of the football. So this veteran ACC officiating crew led by Jeff Flanagan will indicate to us, Kelly, that last play did not count as the whistle came before Hooker received the snap. So back in time we go, 3rd and 2 once more for the Hokies. And Hooker's going to try to run for it. He will not make it. Stacked up, driven backwards. He'll lose 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And a 3-and-out force for the Miami defense.
Ironically, it was the quick hitch that allowed Virginia Tech to convert. And this is a power game. You're pulling a guard from the left to the right. You're leading with your running back, Blackshear, and you're trying to convert with really your best runner in the game currently.
Oscar Bradburn will send it deep, and the fair catch called for at the 21. And Miami will take over there. So a strange sequence of events will give Rhett Lashley and D'Eriq King the football. D'Eriq King coming off a record-setting performance, over 500 total yards, 5 passing touchdowns. ACC quarterback of the week for the Houston transfer. He's got quite a story to tell in 2020. But on the field, Kelly, he has been nothing short of electric. And on first down, the give, Cameron Harris picks up 10. And a big gainer for the U.
And Rhett Lashley, the new offensive coordinator of Miami, is going to go as fast as possible when they're in rhythm, as they are early in this one.
Little trickeration back to King. He wants to go deep. And the contested pass is going to be reeled in by Brevin Jordan. And that's a catch along the far sideline and a gain of 19.
Trickeration early, and you have a great decision maker at the end in King pulling the trigger.
Brevin Jordan back after missing the last 3 games. A great sign for fans of the Hurricanes. The tunnel screen will net a yard as the reception made by Mark Pope. The tempo fast and furious for Miami right out of the gate, already in plus territory on their first possession. Canes ranked inside the top 10 of the country, only lost to number 4 Clemson as Pope makes the grab. It's a gain of 9, give him 8 officially. And quickly back to the line, another deep give. Cameron Harris, second carry on 3rd and short, will pick up the first down.
And so with the incredibly fast tempo that Rhett Lashley wants to play with, it's also maximum spread. It's kind of a Gus Malzahn power spread in the run game, and then the decision maker, D'Eriq King, has a lot of leeway at the line of scrimmage.
On the toss, Jalen Knighton brought down from behind. First touch for Knighton, nets 4 yards. A tackle by Rayshard Ashby. Miami coming off the thrilling comeback win in Raleigh against NC State last Friday night. Canes with all kinds of confidence with their new starting quarterback. Gain of 1 on 2nd and 7. It'll bring up 3rd down. The stop by Justice Reed for Virginia Tech.
And if you're Virginia Tech defensively, this is exactly what you have to do to slow the tempo of Miami down just a little bit. Is you have to play well on 1st and 2nd down, funnel to a pass down on 3rd down, and then try to get pressure on D'Eriq King.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 6. Against the 4-man front. And King buys some time as he sails that pass. Complete at the 30, and the reception made by Jeremiah Payton, his 4th catch of the season. Let's see what Miami does here.
And Miami is in that place on the field that you may go ahead and go for it right here. A punt really doesn't do you a ton of good. And then remember, it all comes down to me. You can have a long field goal attempt too, which is what Miami's going to do, but there's a lot of leeway for Manny Diaz in these situations because of the decision-making experience of D'Eriq King.
Jose Borregales on the field. He's been almost perfect this season. 13 of 14 with a long of 57, so well within his range. And instead they're going to fake it. Borregales, he needed 3. Did he get there? I'm not sure he did. I think Virginia Tech was ready and waiting. And Virginia Tech will get it back.
Borregales is not exactly the runner that I would choose on the field in that situation, but it also gives you insight into the decision-making of Manny Diaz early in this game.
5 minutes in Blacksburg, still scoreless.
ESPN College Football is presented by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance. And in part by Duluth Trading Company. Tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen.
Well, back in beautiful Blacksburg, Virginia. Virginia Tech's 2nd possession early on at Lane Stadium, Worsham Field. Beautiful afternoon for college football. Great scene down at the Masters with College Game Day concluding just moments ago. And Hendon Hooker back to work. Junior out of Greensboro, North Carolina, flanked by Blackshear in the backfield once again. Six-man pressure, and the pass will be batted down. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Hokies. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, Eric Wood joins us on the sidelines in just 1 minute. And already, this feels like an important contest, Kelly, for Miami on the road, trying to figure things out and notch its 7th win of this young season.
Yeah, there was a ton happening in those couple of series that we started this game with, and I think we have insight into the aggressive mindset of Manny Diaz early in this one as well.
7 in the box. Hooker pulls it out. And on the RPO, sails it out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and 10. You never know what to expect in 2020, Kelly, but clearly this a very important game for both of these two teams, and a rivalry that dates all the way back to the early 90s in the old Big East Conference.
Yeah, and I think we see insight into the importance of this with the decision-making early by Miami for some trick plays and Manny Diaz to go for it on that fake punt. But also the run game of Virginia Tech has to show up early in this one and take swings away from D'Eriq King on the other side of the ball.
On 3rd down, he'll dump it down to Blackshear with a high step and a first down for the Hokies. So Virginia Tech on the move for the first time as Raheem Blackshear filling in for the injured Khalil Herbert. That'll keep the drive going.
And I think this is where Hendon Hooker has improved recently, Roy, is getting through his progression, getting to a check down and letting your check down run for the first down.
Blackshear again, deep handoff, and he'll net a yard, stopped by Quincy Roche.
When your quarterback starts finding your 3rd or 4th look on a pass concept and it ends up being a check down that runs for a first down, that's a really good sign for an offensive play caller. You can trust the decision making more with Hooker now than you could last year when he took over in this very matchup.
Bunch formation for the Hokies. It's a 42-35 game a year ago. Crazy finish as Miami came back from 28 down early. Hokies won it late. In traffic, the dump off. Robinson, officially his 2nd grab. Stopped at midfield as we check in with Eric Wood.
We got a great matchup today between the Virginia Tech offensive line and this talented Miami defensive line. The stars for Miami's defensive line are their 2 defensive ends, Quincy Roche and Jalen Phillips. Watch this matchup throughout the day.
Yeah, we got NFL talent there, and speaking of devil, Phillips drags down Hooker for a sack. And the punt team set to take the field again for Virginia Tech.
And Phillips actually creates quite the bookend to Roche, and it's one of those guys or the other that typically meet at the quarterback, and that's a tackle in stunt on one side, and Phillips comes up and ends up getting to Hooker.
Transfer from UCLA, the former 5-star prospect, will force the punt as Bradburn caroms that one out of bounds just short of the 20. So Miami with the football again halfway through our first quarter in a game that many thought would be a shootout. That has not transpired so far. Second touch now for D'Eriq King, 2nd possession rather. You see the start. Decided he wanted to transfer to Miami the night of the national championship game in January. As the flip out to Mike Harley, who's had the hot hand recently, will net 6.
And Roy, D'Eriq King is that missing piece that Manny Diaz was looking for. We understand that at this point in time, and Manny Diaz ended last year believing that he needed leadership in his quarterback room, and King has been that for sure.
And some of the swagger back to Miami against the hard-hit mentality of Virginia Tech. Going back to Beamer ball as that pass falls incomplete, and it's 3rd and 5 for Manny Diaz's club.
And what some people may forget is how experienced D'Eriq King is. You know, remember, he started for 3 years and then played 4 games his 4th season in Houston before transferring. So that experience is beginning to show up in big ways in Rhett Lashley's offensive scheme.
On third down, here comes the pressure. King avoids it and floats a pass incomplete. Looking for Harris out of the backfield. Jared Hewitt, wearing number 25 today, applied the pressure against number 1 for the U.
And Hewitt, from his defensive tackle position, gets loose, and that's one of the keys to this game. You know that Virginia Tech is really good at the defensive end position, but Hewitt told us yesterday that it's about creating a wall inside and not allowing De'Aaron King to step up when those ends create pressure from the edges.
Lou Headley on to punt this one away for Miami. Jared Hewitt, the Florida native, said, yeah, this one means a little bit more, considering that all of the Sunshine State schools passed on me. And the new punt returner for Virginia Tech this week, Raheem Blackshear, as that'll take a Miami bounce and whistle dead at the 13. Timeout on the field in Blacksburg. Presented by Geico, still scoreless back in Blacksburg, Virginia. Kelly Stopper, Roy Philpott, as we send you now to Eric Wood.
Number 21, Khalil Herbert, will enter the game for the first time today for Virginia Tech. Their running back leads the country in all-purpose yards, and the Hokies desperately need him. On the game so far, minus 12 rushing yards for the team that leads the Atlantic Coast Conference in rushing yards per game.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker has been bottled up. Khalil Herbert, they call him Juice, suffered a hamstring injury going back before last week's contest. He'll twist and turn here. Jade Silvera brings him down, but not before Herbert gained 7 yards. That's a great sign for Tech.
It really is. And Juice Herbert brings a speed element to this run game for Virginia Tech that they lack otherwise. We know that Hooker has been efficient, but he's not the speed guy. Herbert is that guy out on the edge in particular.
They'll fake it his direction this time. The dump off to Robinson, third catch. And a nice gain and a first down for Virginia Tech after a gain of 11 yards, Kelly.
And Herbert, Roy, particularly at that second level, there's a lot of zone blocking, a lot of stretch plays to get to the edges, and then it's that extra gear by Herbert at that second level.
Movement at the line, a free play for Hooker, who launches one deep and incomplete. And we'll check the infraction. Another flag comes in late as Caleb Smith hit the turf. Al Blades in coverage as Jeff Flanagan will break the news for us.
It may be a pass interference late on Al Blades, clear outside on Smith.
Both by the defense, by the defense, offside defense, number 3, that penalty declined, pass interference defense, number 7, that penalty accepted, 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
Roy, it was a heads-up play by Hooker to realize it was essentially a free play, and then Blades impedes Smith's ability to get back to the football, so that's pass interference. But a good job to start with by Hooker to take advantage of that offsides that he knew was coming.
Hokies approaching plus territory. And Hooker straight ahead. We'll get there and a lot more. There goes Hooker. Hendon Hooker off to the races. That'll be a Virginia Tech touchdown. One of the top dual threat signal callers in America, gains 53 yards, and he puts 6 on the board for the Hokies first.
And it was the threat of the speed of Juice Herbert coming into the game on the fake. And it's a wide receiver, Robinson, in with Herbert in the backfield, and then it's the quarterback, Hooker, keeping it right down Broadway. So it's really a three-pronged attack. It's a lead blocker going outside, and it's the quarterback going right down Main Street when he keeps it.
Eric, you saw it. What did you see?
Yeah, when we talked to Miami's defensive coaches, they said that they wanted to make Hendon Hooker hand it off. Well, that is not what Jalen Phillips did here. He went with the speed sweep. He could not recover in the hole there. You saw that. And then Bubba Bolden, one of the best safeties in college football, number 21, misses a tackle in the hole. That just shows you the athleticism of Hendon Hooker, who, as Roy got him to describe himself, as smooth. And that's what he said about himself, and that was pretty smooth right there.
And we talked to Hendon Hooker extensively this week. I said, describe yourself in one word. Tell me why. He said smooth. And he said basically came from his time as a high school basketball player. Scored over 1,000 points playing prep hoops. And then it was Dad that told him, hey, you're going to play football. His dad, a Hall of Fame quarterback at North Carolina A&T. And Alan Hooker said, you're not going to be playing on the gridiron under my roof if you want to play at the next level. I think it's worked out pretty well. Yeah. Hokies grab the lead as we check in for the first time with Matt Berry.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. I've got your Rocket Mortgage studio update. We're going to start with North Carolina, Wake Forest. Wake up 7-0 until Sam Howell throws a strike. 75 yards, Daz Newsome. Tar Heels would tie it up at 7 apiece. Let's check in on Marshall. Grant Wells, their talented young quarterback, to Willie Johnson for the score. Thunder and Herd up 7-0. Someone give me Eric Woods Taylor. I need that blazer he's wearing.
Oh, we love it. Back in Blacksburg. We saw North Carolina up close and personal last week. Explosive nature of that offense. First down handoff goes to Jalen Knighton. He'll pick up 3. So Kelly Devin Taylor makes a stop. If you're Miami, plenty of fireworks still to come, obviously, with De'Aaron King. What do you do on this possession?
Yeah, I think it's just game plan as usual. De'Aaron King has been making really good decisions as of late. And with the up-tempo, it gives you a lot of room to work with.
Canes fake the field goal on their first possession. Brevin Jordan out in the flats. Bring up 3rd and short. Eric?
On the previous 3rd downs for Miami, Divine Diablo, the safety for Virginia Tech, is lined up in man-to-man coverage on Brevin Jordan, number 9, the athletic tight end for Miami. If they continue that, look for Miami to try to exploit that matchup.
Miami really has 2 of the best tight ends in the country. We look at the unit overall between Will Mallory and Brevin Jordan as King will rush for first down yardage. And the drive continues, and we expect to see a lot more of that today, Kelly.
Yeah, and Miami would love to go with 2 tight ends a lot, with Jordan and Will Mallory on the field at the same time.
King will take off. And a 9-yard gain will make it 2nd and short. Let's see if the U wants to take a shot here as Rashard Ashby stop King.
And it's that quarterback zone read game where King has really advanced. They had a bye week leading into the North Carolina State game, and there has been a development in that area of King's game. There isn't any question about it.
Harris gets it, needed a yard. He stopped right at the line to gain by Ashby. And the initial spot should move the sticks.
You know, Rhett Lashley told us that they would like to be somewhat spotty in terms of how many times De'Aaron King keeps the ball in designed runs, but it's that quarterback zone read that really is the X factor, because the defense has to simply decide if they want King to keep the ball or not.
And it's fascinating too, because King never really ran the zone read at Houston nor in high school in Texas. And Rhett Lashley has slowly incorporated more of those elements into this offense. And King told us this week, I'm getting used to it. It's more of a feel thing as opposed to an actual read. On 2nd and 8, I'd say the feel's going fairly well so far. It's another first down into plus territory. D. Wiggins makes his first catch, and Miami suddenly in business. So a gain of 15, and here comes more tempo. King back to pass. And a short gain, Jeremiah Payton, 2nd reception.
You know, Roy, and it's the end of plays like that where Miami is going fast and then throwing the football. There isn't anything there on the initial look, and it's that subtle extending of the play and De'Aaron King making good decisions by getting something positive out of it like he did on that one.
The handoff to Harris. Another first down for Miami, tripped up inside the 20. 1st and 10 for the Hurricanes on the move.
And the threat of King keeping the ball on that zone read leads itself to plays just like that where there's much more room for Harris when he gives the ball up.
Donald Chaney gets it this time on first down. Nominal gain for number 2. We like the throwback uniforms for Miami today, don't you? No gain on the last play. 7 in the box for Virginia Tech. Diablo snuck in there at the last second. Second carry in a row to Chaney, and no real estate will make it 3rd and long. Rayshard Ashby's had an active first quarter.
And Virginia Tech told us that their defensive game plan is really to defend first and second down as best they can, but third down is always the money down, especially when you're in the red zone. So it's about finding one play to get off the field against De'Aaron King right here.
Ashby's been critical in trying to do that in this first quarter already with 6 tackles for the Hokies. Big play here on 3rd and long. Pressure up the middle. King flung down and sacked. Mario Kendricks, number 93, got there first.
And that's the second time that we've seen pressure come from the inside. This time it's Kendricks. The time before it was Jared Hewart. Remember that teams understand that Virginia Tech is really dynamic at the defensive end position. You tend to overhelp because of that reputation, and then a couple of defensive tackles have gotten home on the quarterback early in this one.
A big stand in the red zone for the Hokies defense. Borgalason for a 42-yard effort from the right hash. And he has been outstanding this season for Miami. Canes on the board.
And Roy, if you're Virginia Tech defensively, you have to be very encouraged about what you're seeing early. You're finding that one play to get off the field and keep De'Aaron King and company out of the end zone. But also there's been a buttoned-up approach on assignments, and Jared Hewitt told us that early. There's a slightly different approach defensively with Bud Foster not being the defensive coordinator in Blacksburg for the first time in 2.5 decades. And there have been some missed assignments. A lot of times there are guys that are there to make the play and simply haven't finished well. So early in this one, Justin Fuentes has to be encouraged by his defense.
Tough week in Blacksburg after the tough loss to Liberty. A late game sequence that could have been avoided were it not for a last second timeout by Justin Fuente. He told us yesterday, leaned on his team a little bit. Worked their way collectively through that upset loss as we check in once again with Matt Berry.
All right, gentlemen, your perfect match studio update brought to you by Cars.com. Indiana can't get trapped against Michigan State on the road. Good start for the Hoosiers. Stevie Scott muscles his way in. 7-0 over on ABC.
Matt, we appreciate it. Hendon Hooker back on the field for the Hokies. Already with a touchdown march in this one. As time winds down in a fast-moving first quarter. Khalil Herbert has made his return to Virginia Tech. It's Raheem Blackshear on first down, and he'll pick up 5 yards, ushered out. As we check in again with Eric Wood.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial throughout this game for Virginia Tech to not have 3 and outs, and they're going to get a break here with the first quarter. But with the tempo Miami runs, it's imperative that Virginia Tech's offense stays on the field so their defense does not get wore out throughout this game.
Yeah, how many times we heard that around the country this year? Across the middle, and it's caught by Trey Turner. Virginia Tech in plus territory, already leading by 4 after a gain of 35.
And this is a throwback off of everything going to the right, which a quarterback a lot of times and Hooker will boot that way, and then it's the over route by the receiver going back to the middle of the field, and very well thrown by Hendon Hooker.
Hurricanes come to Blacksburg, ranked inside the top 10. They are underdogs today at Lane Stadium, and they trail early. "15 minutes in, back in Blacksburg, Virginia. 2 big plays for the Hokies. And Tech on the move once again. You love the balance for Justin Fuente's club. Right down the middle so far. Hooker's going to be bottled up. Jalen Phillips with the initial contact. And he has been very active these last 2 games, Eric Wood.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Miami coaches wanted, and I'm assuming after that long touchdown run, they were not going to let Hendon Hooker escape again. That time, Jalen Phillips plays it perfectly.
And it was a slightly different play on the touchdown run. They sent a bunch of bodies out to Phillips, and then Hooker was inside. That time, Hooker tried to get outside, and Phillips was having none of it.
Great matchups, the line of scrimmage between Tech's offensive tackles and the 2 DNs for Miami. Trey Turner has it and makes one man miss. He'll be stopped at the 37. It'll be 3rd and 7.
And you're seeing a lot of zone on the back end out of Miami defensively, and I think that's just going to force Hendon Hooker to be more patient in that pass game.
Hokies in field goal range. When you look at what Brian Johnson has done this year, has connected the double nickel from 55 earlier in the season. Wild year for the Hokies overall, riding the COVID roller coaster like many of us around the nation have. Blackshear on 3rd down, the inside give, and he stopped dead in his tracks by Jonathan Ford.
You question Hooker's decision-making there. It seemed like he should have given the ball up when Phillips enveloped him on the play before, and that time it seemed more of a keep around the left side.
So Johnson on the field, the senior out of DC. 14 of 18 this season. And this effort from 54. Career long is 55, just inside the right hash, and that one well off the mark. So perhaps a change in momentum in favor of Miami off that special teams miscue.
And on that drive, you saw the defensive line for Miami show up in a big way.
Beautiful day in Blacksburg. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. 7-3 our score. Miami getting set. Get the football back after a bit of a questionable decision for the long field goal attempt. Hurricanes will have decent field position. You don't want to ever do that with a player like De'Aaron King. On 1st down, the slant was there, and it's incomplete as we check in again with Matt Berry.
It is time for the AT&T 5G studio update. And if you had the over in Wake Forest to North Carolina, you're feeling good in the first quarter. Sam Howell and De'Ami Brown, 17-14, Tar Heels on ACC Network.
Tar Heels trying to get it done against Wake Forest. Dave Clawson, an incredible coach in the ACC. On 2nd down. And no real estate available for Cameron Harris. Quickly bottled up. Divine Diablo got there, number 17 for Virginia Tech.
And that's another example of that quarterback zone read that we talked about De'Aaron King doing a much better job with. But I think, as Eric Wood pointed out, both of these defenses don't want the quarterback carrying the football. So you can orchestrate that defensively in terms of giving the quarterback the read that forces him to give up the football.
King coming off 400-yard passing performance at NC State. Pocket collapses, down he goes. Who else? Jared Hewitt, the Florida native, brings him down wearing number 25, honoring Frank Beamer and the incredible special teams that were here in Blacksburg for all those years.
And Hewitt doing a great job of taking advantage of one-on-one situations up inside. There is so much attention paid to Justice Reed, and then Reed goes inside, and the offensive line didn't pass off that stunt well, and it allowed Hewitt to get to the quarterback. That was well done on the defensive line of scrimmage for Virginia Tech.
Hewitt recruited to Blacksburg under Frank Beamer's watch before the coaching change occurred 5 years ago. Big fan of Beamer ball, as you would expect, and And a very busy weekend around the country and in the NFL tomorrow. Sunday, NFL Countdown, record-setting comebacks across the league this season. Countdown explores the mystery of momentum. Uncle Mo. Plus, Randy ranks the best catches from today's college football action. Start your Sunday with NFL Countdown, and then Monday Night Football, Vikings and Bears, the NFC North. Dalvin Cook, one of the top running backs in the National Football League, on display against that Bears defense. That's Monday night, 8 o'clock. I'll get started with coverage at 6. Hokies get it back as Hendon Hooker bolts straight ahead for a short gain.
And we do see Khalil Herbert in the game once again. After that one appearance, we didn't see him for a couple of series, and you wondered how that hamstring was responding, but he's back out there now and gives them a speed element that this offense needs in that run game.
Hooker lost control of the snap. He'll make something out of nothing. Jonathan Ford crashed the pocket early to disrupt the action there.
And that snap was a little bit low from Hoffman, and the quarterback, Hooker, takes his eyes off it just a little bit. There was a whole lot of ball handling that Hooker had to do on that play, took his eye off the football.
On 3rd and 6 across the middle, floats it complete, and a big gainer for Virginia Tech. Caleb Smith hauls it in, 7th catch of the season. It'll be first down in plus territory once again for the Hokies.
And I believe it was Frierson that potentially dove after that ball, took a bad angle, and then Smith came up with it.
Using tempo, Khalil Herbert stopped by Quincy Roche, and a flag on the field. Jeff Flanagan the call.
Illegal substitution, defense. Replace players who not get off the field before the snap.
Eric, what did you see?
Penalty until first down.
These last 2 plays, Virginia Tech has given Miami a taste of their own medicine. They ran hurry up on 3rd down, which didn't allow those 2 talented defensive ends for Miami to get set. They got back up, got up on the ball, did hurry up again, and caught them with 12 on the field.
Pitch, Herbert. And the grad transfer from Kansas ushered out by Frierson. Right at the line to gain.
And Miami was going with 2 high safeties that time, which is an alert to run the football if you're on offense. Man-to-man coverage underneath, and they just get the ball out to Herbert, their speed back, who's still, I think, testing that hamstring.
Hamstring injuries are a little finicky. Feels like it's better. You try to cut it loose.
Made the line to gain for a first down. That play is under further review.
And you find out it's not, and we'll take a second look, see what this spot looks like. Do that after this quick break. Timeout on the field in Blacksburg. Two years ago, the old Orange Bowl, Shane Graham missed a field goal at the end of regulation for Virginia Tech. Overtime ensued. And it was Ricky Hall with a leaping grab in the end zone over Miami, 27-20, the final score. Some of the great games in this outstanding rivalry going all the way back to their Big East days as Frank Beamer celebrated that big win. Names like Al Clark, Edgerrin James playing that day in the 38th all-time meeting here this afternoon, Kelly.
Wow, no kidding. Vintage footage, and everything seems slower when you look back at those days, but that was great stuff.
It also looks like it's on 8mm film for some reason before HD as Hooker takes it on 2nd and short. He'll pick up a bundle, and the Hokies inside the red zone after a gain of 19.
And this is where I think Virginia Tech is at their best, is when it's a designed quarterback run as opposed to when Hooker needs to make the decision. This is just power football with Holston, the running back, leading outside and Hooker keeping the football. But when it's power ball and there's no decision to make, Hooker is at his best.
Injury timeout, 7-3. Tech leads. For Hendon Hooker, almost 200 total yards on the board already. And Virginia Tech leading Miami by 4. De'Aaron King remains on the sideline awaiting his next opportunity. Hokies driving. Jalen Holston will try to bounce it outside, and he does. Holston picks up 8 yards on first down.
Virginia Tech has a fantastic red zone package, and there you saw a little bit of it, and now they're starting to add tempo to it a little bit as well.
Bubba Bolden stopped him. Red Sea parts again. Holston to the end zone, and he's got a touchdown for the Hokies. Well, the run game's starting to get lathered up for Virginia Tech.
And Roy, we saw the creativity of the red zone package that Virginia Tech has. Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator of Miami, said it might be the best in the country, and it's certainly the best that he's seen in a long while. And Holston is the downhill physical guy, but there was use of a couple of tight ends on the previous play out of a 3-by-1 set, and then it's just power football, kind of who can be the tougher team when you get down close, and it was Virginia Tech on that series.
The hard hat mentality, E. Wood, paying dividends for the Hokies so far.
Absolutely, and that's what they pride themselves, especially up front. I talked to offensive line coach Vance Weiss before the game, and he said this is a throwback group up front. He can even coach them tough. This isn't the new age of social media, kid. He was telling me, he said these guys up front are extremely tough, and as this game goes on, this Virginia Tech offensive line could wear down this Miami defensive line. And one guy who we have not heard from today is number 2, Quincy Roche for Miami. He's the number 4 outside linebacker prospect on Mel Kiper's board. And who he's going up against, number 77, the left tackle, Christian Darrisaw for Virginia Tech. Top 20 pick in both Kiper and McShay's mock drafts. That is one heck of a matchup to keep your eyes on.
And it's that left side as a whole. Darrisaw, along with the guard Smith sitting beside him, he would. And we haven't heard from Roche much at all because of those 2 big bodies on Roche, I believe.
Love calling games with former first-round quarterbacks and Pro Bowl centers. You get perspective that you don't get in a lot of other games. Bad field position for Miami, and De'Aaron King, Kelly, has got to find a way to get back to work, and we'll check in with Matt Berry once you get into the studio right now.
Guys, it has been a rough day for Sean Clifford, Penn State quarterback, and it's really been an awful season for the Nittany Lions. Strip sack here, Deontay Williams, scoop and score. It is all Nebraska, 24-3.
Big Ten update. Nebraska's got things cooking in Lincoln against the Nittany Lions, and De'Aaron King's got to try to find some magic against Virginia Tech in this great rivalry. 2 teams have squared off every year since 1992. Even in 2020, that streak stays alive. Pressure off the edge. King gets rid of it. And he'll save a couple of yards on the dump off to Mike Harley.
And a slightly different look that time out of Miami. They went with more of a 2 running back set, starting in a bunch left, moved a second running back into the backfield, and then play action pass. But it's the edge pressure Virginia Tech is getting on King that's making a difference now.
Hokies have been the more physical bunch so far. King flings it. That's caught. D. Wiggins has it. That's his second grab. And that'll move the chains for Miami after a gain of 11.
And that's a difference right now, Roy, you see with Virginia Tech on the back end. Much more zone coverage than you ever saw out of Bud Foster. Bud Foster had a mantra of contesting every play. It's a little less aggressive with Justin Hamilton currently.
And Miami with no explosive plays so far. 3rd reception for Higgins as he's ushered out by Dax Hollifield. And it's interesting because Virginia Tech, Kelly, was supposed to have one of the top secondaries in America this year. But then you have Caleb Farley who opts out. The injury to Jermaine Waller. And now all of a sudden you're rather green on the back end. King will keep it. He'll pick up the first down and a nifty spin move brought down at the 47. Devin Taylor got him. That'll move the chains.
And King keeping the ball in that field zone read that he's getting so much better at. And then King, make no mistake about it, is electric when he gets out in space. But right now, Virginia Tech, up to that play, has done a great job of getting the ball out of King's hands.
On the design quarterback draw, King will take off. We asked Rhett Lashley this week, Kelly, is this kind of starting to remind you of what you had with Nick Marshall at Auburn back 2013, the way you're running the zone read. And he admitted there's some definite similarities, but King perhaps is a better pure passer than Nick Marshall was. And remember, Marshall was a former cornerback on defense. He switched over to play offense down on the Plains. Movement up front here. We'll check the infraction.
False start. Offense number 6. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's Mark Pope, the receiver. Jumped early.
And Roy, I'll put it a little more definitively. There isn't any question that De'Aaron King is a much better passer than Marshall was, and they're probably equally good runners.
On 2nd and 10. Big hole for Cameron Harris. And stop back in plus territory. It'll be 3rd down and 2 after a gain of 8.
And Virginia Tech is playing a little softer on the defensive side, so there's a little bit more running room. And Virginia Tech, kind of out of necessity because of the lack of the corners you talked about, are forcing offenses to be a little more deliberate, a little more patient by playing a little softer.
Certainly makes sense as King sends it. 1st down, nifty move by Harley. And he stepped out at the 35. Miami driving once again.
And Murray, the corner on Harley, a big play receiver, is not a matchup out in space that Virginia Tech wants to see very often.
Tempo again for the Canes. Screen pass to Pope, spun out at the 30.
You know, Roy, it's actually quite simple in terms of Rhett Lashley's approach offensively. He keeps it simple so they can go fast, and then it's really about giving the ball to playmakers out in space. We're seeing that now.
Time for King. Floats one deep, and a dangerous toss sails out of bounds. Are they going to call that a catch? And they will at the 10-yard line. D. Wiggins. Blanket coverage along the far side, but Wiggins got a foot down, it appears.
I think Wiggins did get that left foot down, and what a throw by King.
No replay on the longest play from scrimmage today for Miami, and there goes King. To the edge, De'Aaron King to the pylon for the easy touchdown.
The decision-making by King on this touchdown run is absolutely stunning. It's the fake inside, it's the pass outside, it's a power run that's designed to go inside, and then it's athleticism that gets King outside into space. There was a lot happening there, and King did absolutely everything right.
De'Aaron King just 55 total yards before that drive. He was a difference maker again on the scoring march for the Hurricanes. 5 to play in our first half. De'Aaron King working more of his magic on the road, and the Canes trail it by 4. King starting to do De'Aaron King things back in Blacksburg. 14-10, Virginia Tech leading number 9 Miami. Kelly Stoffer, Eric Wood, Roy Philpott, great to have you with us today. Moving day down at Augusta National, perhaps also in the ACC as well, as we check out today's Liv Moss moment, brought to you by our friends at Taco Bell. D. Wiggins, De'Aaron King really get done on that last possession for the U, Kelly.
Yeah, and the two plays are really De'Aaron King in a nutshell. The tough throw to get it in before the safety can get over top of the underneath coverage, and then all of the decision-making on the touchdown run. And in the end, it's about a really good athlete getting the ball out in space, but it was the decision-making that took King out into space, and that was terrific. That drive was well needed by Miami.
Off the RPO, dangerous toss for Hendon Hooker. As James Mitchell is back in action for the Hokies today. And a flag on the field with 5 to go in our first half. Big loss for Virginia Tech last week against Liberty. No James Mitchell.
Defense number 1. Penalty is an automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
Is that Jade Silvera back in coverage? He said it was number 1. Not sure that it was. I believe it was actually Quincy Roche. Or Bubba Bolden.
Yeah, Bubba Bolden, number 21 on the coverage, in the slant inside, and just arrived just a little bit early. And that was unfortunate because that was an errant pass, and Bolden somewhat bailed out Virginia Tech on that play.
Take another look at that pass to see if perhaps it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Rusty Acree is our replay official today.
And if indeed it was tipped, then pass interference is off the table, and Bolden can break on the ball and on the receiver anytime he wants. That's going to be difficult to tell. The ball certainly didn't look good in the end coming out of the hand, and I think the middle finger of the defender getting up right there.
Jalen Phillips.
Jalen Phillips stunting up inside, may have gotten a left fingertip on that ball. It certainly didn't look good, the flight of the ball after it got past the line of scrimmage.
Now Phillips really has reinvented himself at Miami, the former UCLA standout. We talked with Blake Baker about number 15 this week. He said he's been a joy to be around. He's worked his way back into the NFL conversation. And the numbers a week ago in the comeback at NC State, a career high 10 tackles and a sack.
Yeah.
It was a big time difference maker.
And really the complete package. I mean, skill set wise, he has everything: length, size, strength, speed, quickness in short spaces. And then he has an effort motor.
First down.
Not sure enough there to overturn the original call. You're looking for indisputable video evidence, and Phillips, if he touched it, it was by half a fingernail.
When you were talking about Jalen Phillips along with Roche, and then Greg Rousseau opted out, imagine those three on the field together once in a while in somewhat of a NASCAR package with this Miami defense.
Canes, number 9 in the country, only loss against number 4 Clemson. That was in Death Valley. Game that feels like it was played eons ago with all the cancellations this week and everybody just trying to complete this season. Julius makes a grab, his first of the season for 89. For Virginia Tech, he was dragged down by Bradley Jennings. So a gain of 4. Important possession now for Miami defensively after De'Ara King started to warm things up on the last possession for the Hurricanes, and they'll show pressure. Blackshear, no real estate. Jalen Phillips again ready and waiting. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And what Miami is doing on that play to mess with the read of Hendon Hooker is they're stunting Phillips up inside. So they're essentially exchanging who has the running back and who has the quarterback.
Tempo again for the Hokies on 3rd and 6. Hooker's going to be brought down, and that's a sack. Heavy pressure. Jade Silvera, Quincy Roche met in the backfield along with Takori Couch, and that's a loss of 7.
And a quintessential drive by Miami defensively. Manny Diaz is all about getting after the ball, and you can see Phillips creating havoc inside, allows Silvera to get loose. But it's about tackles for loss and turnovers funneling to 3rd down, and that's what Miami did there.
Punt is going to be muffed and quickly recovered for the Canes, and they'll maintain possession as we check in again with Matt Berry.
All right, guys, good afternoon. Coming up on the Lexus halftime report, Wake Forest and North Carolina just keep on scoring. We'll have highlights of a wild one in Chapel Hill. Plus, there's been news and an update regarding the Heisman Trophy. We'll give you that. And Indiana looking to make history for the first time since 1987. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway join me coming up on the Lexus halftime reports.
Gentlemen, we look forward to that. An update on the Heisman Trophy. All kinds of candidates there, whether you're Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and a handful of other candidates, including perhaps De'Ara King. On the handoff, Miami gets it back and plunging ahead for a gain of 8. It'll be Jalen Knighton.
And the touchdown drive that Miami just had, the drive before, a total of 84 yards. They had less than 100 before that drive.
You can feel Uncle Mo on the side of the Hurricanes as Knighton will pick up first down yards. A freshman from the Sunshine State, and the staff told us this week, didn't play like a first-year player, Kelly.
Yeah, and that last drive resembled a lot of drives in the North Carolina State game where you just hitch the wagon to D'Eriq King and let him get things done.
Injured Virginia Tech player deep in the Miami backfield. I believe that's Jarrett Hewitt grabbing that left arm. And he was fun to get to know this week in talking about his Virginia Tech career. Cut the hair off. He's still a dynamic fifth-year senior.
And Hewitt has been incredibly active early in this game. All the attention that the defensive ends get outside of Hewitt, and Hewitt has a couple of tackles for loss and has been finding the football with that number 25 jersey on.
He told us this week, Miami's coming to our house. It means a little bit more. We like to get after these guys. They did it on the road last year, 42-35. Crazy affair, and this one's starting to take on that very same vibe. Under 3 to play in the first. King with all kinds of time heaves one deep, and the far sideline toss is incomplete. Wiggins, blanket coverage out there for Breon Murray.
And King does a really good job of diagnosing the one high safety. You get press coverage outside, Murray on Higgins, and if you're Miami, you want to take that every time as Higgins goes headlong into the net.
That's a tough spot to land floating out of bounds like that, isn't it?
It's softer than most.
Straight into the heart of the kicking net. Mike Harley on the tunnel screen, a first down for Miami. Stuffed at the 39-yard line, Devin Taylor, but Harley and King forming quite the chemistry these last 3 contests.
And Harley's been somewhat quiet, but this is what you do. You guarantee your playmaker a touch just like that on the smoke screen.
It's a gain of 17 yards. King with plenty of time. And out of bounds looking for Mark Pope. It's incomplete.
Virginia Tech, Roy, is doing a really nice job on the back end of changing coverages. You know, with Bud Foster, it was in your face, usually one high safety, man-to-man everywhere, and you could count on it. Virginia Tech, under new defensive coordinator Justin Hamilton, is much more diverse, diagnosing on the back end some zone coverages that are giving the offense fits currently.
Knighton motions back into the backfield. King will fake it his direction. And outstanding coverage by Diablo on the edge against D'Eriq King.
And that was one of those design quarterback runs. It was a power where you pull a lineman and also Mallory the tight end, and you fake inside on the zone run, and then King keeps it and follows those 2 pullers, and it was defended quite well by Virginia Tech.
Canes need 8. Empty backfield for D'Eriq King. Fires a strike, pass is caught. Sticks will move. That's Will Mallory, his first grab, as he powers his way down to the 22 and a gain of 15.
And based on the zone coverage from Virginia Tech currently, that's exactly where you need to go. Mallory, the big tight end, finding a void in that zone, and King gets it to him on time.
90 seconds remaining in the first. King across the middle, contested throw, and nearly picked off. Breon Murray swatted that one away at the last second, Kelly.
And Murray is doing a really nice job. This is a skinny post from the backside, and Wiggins got to step inside, and then watch the close by Murray. Don't grab the back of the receiver, lead with the right arm and knock the ball down. Well done by Breon Murray right there.
Murray starting to grow up, the junior out of Delaware. And on second down,
Timeout. Virginia Tech.
Hokies talk things over on the sideline.
30 seconds.
Well, D'Eriq King, we mentioned this earlier, electing to transfer out of Houston after 4 sensational years there for the Cougars program. Coaching change there near the end. It was the night of the national championship game. He posted a note on social media. I've entered the portal. I think it's best for me and my family. That was back on January 13th. And then unexpectedly, his father, Eric King, passed away due to a heart attack in early February. Really sent shockwaves through the King family. His mom battled back from breast cancer and was officially announced cancer-free in April. She rang the bell, and it's been an emotional 2020, as many have documented. And many also don't know that King lost another person close to him just a week ago, and a former Houston teammate, Kadarian Smith. And he told us this week that was just as painful as just about anything I've dealt with, but he keeps a smile on his face. He's the same guy every day at practice and on game day. And he'll pick up a couple of yards here, give him 4 with a tackle by Hewitt. But he's been a bright spot in college football this year, Kelly.
Oh, one of the best stories in college football by far. There isn't any doubt about it. Even if you're not a college football fan, you can be a fan of D'Eriq King, that's for sure.
Jared Hewitt back on the field. His arm kind of bolted down to provide support. Under a minute to play on 3rd and 6. King sent backwards, and down he goes at the 25. Amari Barno got there, number 38 for Virginia Tech. And that's a costly mistake for the Miami offense.
And Barno is that negative play waiting to happen for Virginia Tech. And 3rd and manageable is the wheelhouse for a designed run by King, and Barno was having none of it right there. Did a great job of maintaining leverage. What you do is keep your outside arm free to set the edge, and Barno did it right there.
On 4th and 11, we'll see if they're just trying to wind some time down to attempt a end-of-half field goal.
I would think that would be it. You know that Manny Diaz passed on 3 points earlier in the game. I would assume he doesn't want to do it again right here.
30 seconds.
So a 41-yard effort should be forthcoming for the Hurricanes and Jose Borregales. Interesting start for Manny Diaz on the road. This game important.
8 seconds, please. 8 seconds.
Kelly, both of these programs have dealt with COVID issues this season. Virginia Tech, especially early on in the year. Miami more recently, with massive amounts of players missing the trip to Raleigh last Friday night. More are out today. And the reasons are never specifically given, but you understand likely where it's coming from.
Yeah, no doubt. And Manny Diaz was brought to Miami, elevated from defensive coordinator to head coach to win games just like this. This is the type of game that Miami has to get past. You know, a number 9 team in the country, not respected and being an underdog on the road. Miami has to come through in games just like this.
Borregales, 14 of 15 this season, perfect so far today. Did come up short on a fake field goal attempt. This one on the way, and he bangs it home. 1-point game. A couple of ticks left on our first half clock. Well, we thought it would be close. First 30 minutes yielding that. This critical ACC matchup. Check this penalty.
Field goal was good after the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 94 of the kicking team. That is number 94's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. 15 yards will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff.
Headley, the guilty party. Holder talking some smack.
Headley, it's always the last guy, Roy. If you remember one thing I tell you today, don't be that guy. Don't be the last guy. You can get away with it being the first guy or the second, but not the last guy.
Well, he's the punter, Kelly, and he's also a former Australian rules football player, so there's a little bit more than meets the eye with Lou Headley, okay?
There's a lot happening there. There isn't any doubt about it. You got tats all the way up to your earlobes. You got the hair going on. You
love it.
Have a headband happen, and I think you could rock that headband.
Lou certainly
I don't know about
can.
the tats all the way up to the earlobes, but everything else I think you could pull off.
A lot of work to do in that department. Busy afternoon of college football, and later on tonight as well. Some big games coming up over on ABC. Notre Dame, Boston College, the red bandana contest for BC. Wisconsin and Michigan later tonight in a must-win game for Jim Harbaugh and the Maize and Blue. That is a very curious contest against the Badgers team. It feels like they haven't played in a couple of weeks because they haven't. And Blackshear. Check that. Jalen Holston sent down at the 35. Halftime arrives in Blacksburg. Closely contested affair in the heart of the ACC. The Hokies lead Miami 14-13. Halftime report coming up right now as we send you to Matt Berry in the studio.
Gentlemen, thank you. It is the Lexus Halftime Report. First halftime of Men today. Jess Palmer, Joey Galloway, Matt Berry alongside. Virginia Tech, they were favored in this one against Miami. I don't want to bring this back up, but shocking they were favorites after...
You know what's up? Yeah, the check scoring numbers going up. Yeah, going up. Yeah, going up. Yeah, going for the bottom, so you know what's up. Yeah, the check scoring numbers going up.
Back in southwestern Virginia, welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Geico, and two old rivals getting after each other once again. Start of our third quarter, 14-13. The homestanding Hokies leading number 9 Miami. Well, great to have you with us, as always. Kelly Stoffer, Eric Wood, Roy Philpott, and about what we expected, Kelly, in the first 30 minutes. Las Vegas thinks it's going to be close. These two teams very similar in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, somebody knows something, right? The number 9 team in the country goes on the road, plays a team that has 3 losses, and they're an underdog by a couple of points or something like that. I don't know how all that works, but it's somewhat what we expected. 2 quarterbacks that have been efficient and actually effective on a couple of drives. Outside of that, I think the defense had the upper hand in that first half. Miami had 47 plays and didn't have a lot to show for it. 27 efficient plays out of Virginia Tech. We'll see what we get in the second half out of these two guys in particular.
It was 42-35 a year ago down in Miami Gardens, Florida. What will this second half reveal in the final 30? Interesting times in the ACC without divisions this year. Miami still with an outside chance to make it to Charlotte for the ACC championship game. Virginia Tech wants to close strong and enhance its bowl possibilities. Down to E. Wood. Eric, what you got?
I got to talk to Virginia Tech head coach Justin Fuente coming out of the half, and he said offensively they need to eliminate the tackles for loss. Miami's moving around a bunch on them, giving them some fits up front. Defensively, he said they got to just continue to throw the kitchen sink at them. We all saw in the first half a lot of movement from Virginia Tech, a lot of pressure. They're going to continue to bring it, trying to hang on. Held them to 13 points in the first half. They'd love to hold them to that again in the second.
Somebody get me E. Woods Taylor on the phone. I don't know if that's houndstooth or what the pattern is, but it is fantastic as Mike Harley across the middle grabs 9, maybe 10 yards on first down. We'll check the spot. I mean, look at that, Kelly.
Stuff right there. I think that belongs at the Masters as well. I don't know if it's a tribute to the Masters or what's going on, but that's sharp stuff, E. Wood.
Come on, Kelly. Hey, Masters is all about the green. I should have busted that out. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, word has it, E. Wood can hit the links at a fairly high level, too, outside of being a Pro Bowl center for the Buffalo Bills back in the day. So a natural to have him on. Moving Saturday, this moving day down at Augusta National. Pope in motion after the first down pickup. Plenty of time for De'Ara King. He'll send one deep. And a man-to-man battle comes up empty. Harley the intended target. Great coverage by Taylor down the field, make that Murray.
And if you're King, you got to give yourself a chance right there. Down the field, Harley was matched up on Murray. We've seen Murray actually show up plenty of times, not only matched up on Harley, but Wiggins. But when you extend the play, if you're De'Ara King, you have to give your guy a chance down the field.
Kane's back to work, so is King. Deep ball, batted away. Who else? Breon Murray. Mari Chapman that time. The outstanding coverage, and that left side of the field has been strong for Virginia Tech.
And King diagnoses the press man coverage outside on Wiggins, and Chapman right at the very end. If you're in press coverage and you see the taillights of the receiver, don't panic. Wait for the receiver to tell you when the ball's coming. Reach up and break up the pocket. That's exactly what Chapman did right there.
These corners starting to grow up right before our very eyes today. Murray, a junior. Chapman, just a sophomore. And now it's third down for Miami. Here comes pressure. King lassoed down, and that's going to be another sack for Virginia Tech. Jarrett Hewitt, and what an afternoon he's having.
Gerard Hewitt's been pressuring all game up the middle, giving them fits. They've given them movement. They've given them straight rush. And here, as we'll see him at the nose guard position, he goes right around the guard, and De'Ara King scrambles right into him. Gerard Hewitt is having an absolutely stellar game today.
And you know that when you have to pay attention as an offensive line to defensive ends that can get after your quarterback, the inside guys on the defensive lines are the ones that ends up showing up on game day.
Lou Headley sends it long. Special teams coverage there against Raheem Blackshear. So now take a look at today's More Driven moment, brought to you by Goodyear, and a good start, a good first half, Kelly, for Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker is the epicenter, both in the pass game off the RPO and the quick game a lot, but also the run game. And he's a gasher in the run game. When you get the speed of Herbert and potentially a wide receiver into the backfield that presses the defense, and then you can keep it as a quarterback, big plays are there to be had.
Khalil Hubert to the edge, and a pounding finish to the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 4 yards on first down. The hamstring looks pretty good so far for number 21 for Tech.
Yeah, pretty decent. And Juice Herbert is the guy that has the speed to get outside on the outside zone or stretch play. And that's a vital part of what Virginia Tech does offensively.
Herbert again. Now Hooker will pull it out. And on 2nd and 6, he'll get that and a lot more. Gain of 10 yards.
And Philly, it's all about the presence of another skill set in the backfield for Virginia Tech in that run game. That's why they're rushing coming into this game for almost 280 yards a game, 5th in the country, 1st in the ACC, because you have a violent runner, physical runner at quarterback, and the speed of Herbert at that running back position.
And he's approaching 100 yards on the ground already today. This time back to the air and incomplete. Dulius got a couple of fingertips on it, couldn't haul it in.
And when you're running it well, then comes the RPO game, as we're going to see right here. It was an errant throw right off the fingertips, but it's run well, and then run pass option is really the foundation of Virginia Tech's pass game.
Dulius really has not been active target for Hendon Hooker prior to today. Got his first pass of the season earlier. It'll be 2nd and 10 here. Herbert out of the backfield, quarterback run. And Hooker makes a couple of Canes defenders miss. Stopped at the 45. It's a gain of 5, and another important third down upcoming.
40 seconds.
And that was a prototypical maintenance run. You want to get out of that 2nd and 10 situation, get in 3rd and 5, and 3rd and 5 can be a run or pass. It's truly a mix down, and you don't want to be in a must-throw situation against Manny Diaz's or edge pressure guys.
Irvin Hall had to exit the field there after losing his helmet. Keyshawn Washington will replace him, the Miami secondary. 3rd and 5. Hooker across the middle, that's a first down. Travion Robinson has been active today. Another reception, this one in plus territory. The Virginia Tech drive. Kelly stays alive.
A good job of formationing by Virginia Tech. They go bunch set to the left, and at the snap, that essentially explodes into a lot of different areas, and Robinson was the one that found the void in the zone.
Herbert, plant cuts, explodes, and a gain of 10 yards. That's another first down for the Hokies, Eric Wood.
Yeah, on that play, the stretch play there, the defensive end did not come underneath. As we talked to Miami's defensive coordinators, they wanted the defensive ends to force the ball laterally. They did not do it. This Virginia Tech running game is getting into a rhythm.
On cue, Hinder Hooker, a high step. And Hooker escorted out at the 32 by Jalen Phillips.
So, Roy, what Ewood is talking about, the defensive ends for Miami need to essentially spill that power game or that stretch game, whichever it is coming at them. And so you need to go underneath it and force it to the sideline. If you allow Herbert to bounce it up inside, it's that second gear on the second level that makes defenses pay.
The swing pass, Blackshear makes one man miss. Needed 4, he'll gain 3. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
And 3rd and short for Virginia Tech this year with Hendon Hooker taking the snaps is their wheelhouse. There isn't any question about it. And Blackshear is a better receiver than Herbert. Herbert is a better second-level defender, or excuse me, runner in that run game.
Virginia Tech bring in Quincy Patterson, reserve quarterback. On 3rd and short, he'll pick up a gaggle of yards, give him 9. And Quincy Patterson, the spark for the Hokies.
And what you get out of Patterson is another 25 pounds. So I guess what that is a heavy set that includes your backup quarterback to be able to run the ball and get it on 3rd and 1 and convert.
Kelly, he gives you another 20 pounds over Hendon Hooker. And a wrinkle for Justin Fuente. Well, this team has bounced back in recent years after tough losses. Trying to do so again after what happened against Liberty. Holston to the edge. Holston picks up a 1st down, dragging defenders towards the pylon. It'll be 1st and goal, Virginia Tech.
And Holston doesn't really get a lot of touches. And he's known for the back or the downhill type of role, but that was a physical run in itself.
They'll try to pay it off here across the goal line. Did he get there? He did.
Well, Philly, E. Wood has to love this drive. That was hook the wagon to a nasty bunch up front with a physical quarterback running the ball downhill, also with Holston, who's your downhill type of guy. That was good stuff, and that is who Virginia Tech wants to be offensively this season.
That penalty will be declined. Touchdown.
Kelly, you're exactly right. I absolutely love that drive. As an offensive line gets into a rhythm throughout a game,
Touchdown. That play is under further review.
they will get used to this size and speed for Miami. Through the first half of the first quarter, Virginia Tech had minus rushing yards. They were sitting at minus 12 at one time. For a team that averages 277 yards per game, that was unfamiliar territory for them. But this offensive line has gotten into a rhythm now, and you saw it there on that drive. They are really wearing on this Miami defensive line now.
And the replay booth is taking a look at whether Jalen Holston actually got the ball beyond the end zone line to gain before a body part was down, and I think he did. I think it was called well. It's that right forearm that's different than a hand or a foot. That right forearm, where is the football in the left hand when that right forearm is down? And then it's all about indisputable video evidence to overturn what was called on the field.
And right there, shielded by Ivy. I don't think you can overturn that call, Kelly.
Yeah, Roy, that's the key right there. You're exactly right. Ivy prevents us from seeing the ball right down the goal line. You have to see both of those things. Body part down other than hand or foot, and where's the football at that time?
There.
I think this is going to stand. Holston, the finisher, the physical finisher of runs, I think gets in the end zone.
Virginia Tech now, guys, with over 150 yards on the ground.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
And the touchdown stands. They had 64 rush yards on that possession. And it's starting to feel like the Hokies' offensive line is wearing down Manny Diaz's bunch.
Well, Roy, it's all about what Eric said. The offensive line gets in a rhythm. I call it getting lathered up, and Eric knows exactly what I'm talking about. They get a feel for how to catch up with whatever the defense is doing in that movement. Athletic front for Miami. Get a hat on a hat, cover people up, and yards start to emerge.
Extra point is good. 21-13, our new score, and a touchdown on the board for numeral 0.
For once, I'm a giant. Swing away,
Blacksburg, Virginia, you're watching the ACC on ESPN. A beautiful afternoon for college football. And it's time now for our weekend wake-up brought to you by Wendy's Breakfast. A couple of big ones in the Pac-12 and the American. But in the SEC, Florida and Arkansas, Barry Odom filling in for Sam Pittman, who could be the SEC Coach of the Year. And the Gators, of course, led by Kyle Trask, who just happens to be great friends with De'Ara King. Going back to their time as teammates at Manville High School in Texas, Trask backed up King, and the two continue to work out together to this very day. And Trask right now has to be mentioned, Kelly Stopper, as a Heisman contender. He's the only quarterback in SEC history 4+ touchdown passes in 5 straight games to start the season.
How would you like to be the high school coach that gets to make the decision between those two guys? How could you go wrong with that?
So King back on the field. His team still trailing by 1 score. A touchdown and 2-point conversion would do it for the Canes. His numbers today, modest on the ground, effective and rather efficient through the air. Five minutes into our second half, King with plenty of time. And incomplete. Brevin Jordan covered by Devin Taylor.
And Eric Wood talked about Virginia Tech defensively throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Miami's offense. And this is why. Is because Miami hasn't been able to take advantage of press coverage outside on backup corners from Virginia Tech. The secondary hasn't held up well in the last few games by Virginia Tech, holding up impeccably well today.
Pressure, King forced to throw it early. It'll be 3rd and 10. Well, Miami won those man-to-man battles a week ago at Carter Finley Stadium. They are not so far on the road back here in Blacksburg.
And Roy, De'Ara King is picking the right places to go, which he's very good. He's an experienced guy that can discern where the matchup opportunity is. The problem is, as a quarterback, you don't have a guarantee that your guy is going to win. Many press man situations on vertical routes, or routes that have been converted to vertical routes, Virginia Tech has won their fair share of those on the back end.
Canes 4 of 10 on 3rd down. They need 10 yards here. King off the pump fake. Down he goes. Hewitt applying pressure. Dax Holyfield got there first.
Well, the game plan is this series for Virginia Tech defensively in a nutshell. We hold up in man coverage on the outside, and then we get after King with extra bodies. Holyfield is going to be the outside linebacker that comes up inside. And then guess who's there? Jared Hewitt is there to help finish off the parade.
Holyfield getting the job done, forcing 4th down. Miami still without a play over 20 yards today. De'Ara King has been bottled up. Blackshear, a spin move into plus territory. An outstanding field position now for Hendon Hooker. It's a punt of 52, a return of 21. Hokies get it back after this.
ESPN College Football, presented by Geico, is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud.
The sun splashing down in Blacksburg, and it probably will be in Chestnut Hill later today. Notre Dame and Boston College. Alumni Stadium, 3:30 Eastern. The number 2 Fighting Irish back in action off their upset against Clemson. Later tonight, Wisconsin in the Big House against Michigan. 7:30, both contests on ABC. And Kelly, is this a must-win for Jim Harbaugh? It feels like that missing victory against a quality opponent this year and maybe last year starting to take a toll on the faithful, the maize and blue. Khalil Herbert on first down, spins his way for 13 yards.
Yeah, I certainly think that Harbaugh is going to have to win a big one sooner than later. And meanwhile, Virginia Tech is still trying to get Herbert to the edge and doing an effective job. Tenuta, the right tackle, getting out in front of him and getting number 21, Juice, to the second level.
And Luke Tenuta, 6'7", 315, the son of John Tenuta. He's at Cincinnati currently. Wide open, Trey Turner steps out near the 15-yard line.
And Roy, you just get a sense of how difficult Virginia Tech is to deal with offensively when they have their creative run game going and a viable, willing runner of the football in their quarterback, Hooker. And then the pass game becomes more explosive because of what the defense has to be mindful of.
Third quarter's been dominated by Virginia Tech. Herbert to the edge, makes one man miss. Back to the line. Bradley Jennings stopped him. One of the top backs in the country. Yards after contact. Graphic tells the story there, Kelly.
Yeah, that's a lot, no doubt about it. A guy that can create his own shot, so to speak, because so many times the point of attack is muddy, and Ewood can speak to this, and you need running backs that can create their own once in a while, and Herbert does a great job of that.
Hooker to the end zone, and nobody home as we check in again with Ewood.
Yeah, to your point, Kelly, Khalil Herbert does an incredible job after contact, second in FBS like we saw. The thing that sticks out to me most coming into this game, 288 yards on the season before contact. That's an average of 3 yards per play that he goes completely untouched. Talking about how good this offensive line is again.
That offensive line needs some meals bought for them by their running back Herbert, if that's the case. And you're exactly right. If you can get 3 before anyone gets a hand on you, yards after contact is all about you.
From the 15, 3rd and 10, and the sack by Gilbert Frierson. Missed some time in our first quarter, back on the field here. And he comes up guns blazing to force 4th down. So that'll push the field goal attempt back a couple of yards. After a loss.
And Roy, we talked about that being a critical drive for Miami defensively, and just getting off the field with a field goal would be a win.
Johnson bangs it home from 38. And our new score, 24-13. 6:14 remaining in our third quarter. Goal, an extra point made by participating universities. Allstate will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Allstate. And thank you for watching on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Wherever you may be, 24-13, Virginia Tech leading Miami in this great rivalry, the 38th all-time meeting between these two schools. Now let's take a look at today's hardest working player, brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. Jared Hewitt, wearing number 25 today, has been electric, Kelly.
Yeah, Hewitt has 2.5 sacks, 4 tackles. He had 2 sacks coming into this game, and he's been an absolute brute up front, getting after the quarterback, all of the attention that the defensive ends get. And how about a young man from Florida playing for his dream school in Blacksburg and playing against a nemesis in Miami? All good stuff for number 25 Hewitt today.
And he made a point to tell us that yesterday. Virginia Tech was my dream offer. There's a pass sails incomplete, looking for Peyton. Even though he hails from down there in near sunny South Beach, that hard hat award winner going back to last offseason. The lunch pail mentality under Frank Beamer back in the day. He was recruited by the old staff, ended up signing on with Justin Fuente, Bud Foster, and it has worked out quite well.
Yeah, and I think that was the key, that Justin Fuente retained Bud Foster, rightly so, one of the best decisions that Justin has made, but it kept Jarrett Hewitt coming to school as well.
Harley in motion on 2nd and 10, the RPO. The slant is there, and that's a first down for Miami. D. Wiggins makes a grab across the middle.
And I think that's the pass game that Miami has to go to. They have to run the RPO. It's the best of both worlds. You have a dynamic quarterback, run-pass option. It's essentially a play-action pass.
5th catch for Wiggins. Flag on the field on another pitch and catch. That's Jeremiah Payton once more. It's a gain of 8. We'll check the infraction. Jamari Connor brought him down. Let's see, would you rather have 2nd and 2 or 1st and 5?
Offside.
Wow, that's a good question.
Defense number 41. Penalty be accepted. 5 yards. First down.
Jalen Griffin across the line.
I think the choice is typically a down back over 3 yards gained or 3-yard difference is probably the decision right there. But the run pass option, as opposed to just dropping back and trying to beat Virginia Tech one-on-one, they've held up well in that department so far.
First penalty against the Hokies. 2nd and 1 upcoming after a 4-yard burst by Cameron Harris. Holyfield with a tackle. And on 2nd and short, drive continues for Miami, and not necessarily a must-score possession, but certainly feels like, Kelly, Virginia Tech has captured all of the momentum in this one so far. Under 5 to play in the third. King flings it deep. Pass is caught inside the 30. D. Wiggins, another reception with heavy traffic and a gain of 16.
And Miami being efficient on this drive, it's a hitch corner combination, and King goes to the right place against man-to-man coverage. Single high safety, you have a corner to Wiggins. That should be a layup for Miami.
And it was. Pocket collapses, King flung around, spun down, and down he goes. The sack for Rayshard Ashby, 5'10", 250, and Justice Reed met him in the backfield as well.
I don't understand the insistence on drop-back passing out of Miami. And the difference is the defenders that are rushing after King don't have to transition from either the run-pass option or the traditional play-action pass. And these guys, Reed included, if they know it's pass, they pin their ears and get after the quarterback in a heartbeat.
Knighton gets to the edge, near side run. Hokies have 5 sacks today, 3rd down and long upcoming. That'll be a gain of 7 for the freshman, Jalen Knighton.
And the Hokies have 5 sacks because Miami has lived in 3rd and long. Miami is 2 for 9 going into this drive at 4 yards or more. So they haven't been efficient even in that medium down and distance, but they're over in 8 yards or more as they are right here.
Hurricanes are in field goal range. One of the top kickers in the ACC, Jose Borregales. King under duress, close to the line to gain. Let's see where they spot D. Wiggins. Breon Murray brought him down right at the line.
And this is 4-down territory regardless, but you're exactly right. I think Wiggins has about 6 inches over that line.
The replay booth going to want to take a second look at that sequence.
Running on the field, catch, and first down. That plays under further review.
And Roy, this is where I think Miami has to live in the pass game as we take a look at that spot. Where is the ball when Wiggins goes down, and we're not right on the line to gain, nor is that yellow line official, but it seemed to me that Wiggins may come up just a little bit short. That ball was always in the right arm, and then Wiggins got knocked backwards. I think this is about a half a yard short, but I think it's 4 down territory anyway. I think Miami has to get the momentum back, and this is their opportunity to do just that.
A field goal will slice into a 5-point deficit with 3 to go in the third. I agree with your assessment. It feels like he's going to be about half a yard short off that second look.
And whether you kick a field goal to get within that one score range or not has to do with how many yards we have to go to convert. And I think 4th and just a little bit, certainly I think inside of a yard, I think this is a great time for Manny Diaz to say, let's go for it.
The receiver did not make the line to gain. It'll be 4th down, 1/2 yard to go, the 21.5-yard line. The ball will be placed in the middle of the field.
This is where Lane Stadium misses the crowd. A 4th and 1 against a top 10 team. Miami wouldn't even be able to communicate with each other right now. Only 1,000 people in the stands. Much less intimidating for the Hurricanes here.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the other thing I don't like right here, as an all-pro center, E. Wood, is snap the ball 5 yards deep to gain a half a foot.
King will hand it off straight ahead, and that'll be enough for a first down for Cameron Harris.
Yeah, you make a great point there, Kelly, as we have Devon Diablo down on the field right now. But you make a great point there, Kelly, but nowadays with all the shotgun, it becomes very uncomfortable for them to get back under center.
Yeah, quarterbacks, amazingly enough, don't even know how to take a snap under centers like you anymore, E. Wood. That's amazing to me. How many quarterbacks' hands have you had on your backside? And those days are long gone.
Well, Kelly, when you play for 7 head coaches in 9 years in Buffalo, it becomes a lot of them. I can promise you that. But one of my favorite ones I ever snapped to, Virginia Tech grad Tyrod Taylor. He's actually become a mentor to Hendon Hooker, and what a great mentor to have. Tyrod Taylor, one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life.
And similar demeanors for Taylor and Hendon Hooker, a.k.a. Smooth. Good drive for De'Aaron King. To the edge, or keep it on the ground. He's 3 of 4 passing, Kelly, on this possession for 41 yards, and that's a gain of 7 as Murray ushered him out of bounds.
And a great decision, Philly, by Derek King on the zone read. We talked about the feel of it. That was a great feel right there.
Knighton needs 3, stacked up at the line, no gain. Eli Adams, Jalen Griffin combined to make the tackle.
And what we're talking about with the quarterback in the feel of the zone read, the quarterback sometimes in a muddy read when he should maybe give it or he should keep it. The bottom line is you have to decide if you have a good opportunity as a playmaker to make a play. If so, King should have the ball in his hands.
And he does. The quick toss to the tight end, Will Mallory, and he's got first down yardage. Jabari Connor prevented a touchdown, but a nice catch for the tight end, Will Mallory.
And the role of the run-pass option in Miami's pass game has worked well for them.
First down and goal, big possession for the Canes and a touchdown. Cameron Harris. And Miami pulls within 5 with the extra point to come.
This was a De'Aaron King type of response out of Miami offensively. This is the confidence that King gives this team that they haven't had in the Miami quarterback room for a while. In the end, it's Harris, the physical downhill runner, pin it off as Miami goes for 2.
Trailing by 5, a chance to make it a field goal affair. The throwback. Looking for the big man touchdown towards the pylon, and it is unavailable. Zion Nelson tried to reach that corner, couldn't do it. Dax Hollifield made sure 2 points didn't get on the board there.
And Nelson is the left guard, and it's a throwback to a 312-pounder. And Holyfield is a linebacker at 240. And Holyfield wins. Watch the throwback. Everything's going to go to the right. The tackle is going to sneak out as best he can at 312 pounds to the left. And then it's Holyfield getting the left tackle out of bounds. That's good stuff by a linebacker.
$75 yards in 13 plays. There was a flag that came out late.
Illegal touching. The pass was forward, caught by an ineligible receiver. The try was unsuccessful, so the penalty be declined. The try is no good.
So the interpretation of that, Roy, is when Nelson, an ineligible receiver, catches the football, it has to be backwards. And I think King, the quarterback, got out ahead of him a little bit and ends up throwing the football back. It's from where the ball releases out of the quarterback's hands. And that ball is definitely forward to the left tackle, Zion Nelson. That's a heads-up call by the officials.
I mean, you're throwing to a lineman there. You're throwing to a lineman, Kelly, and you're trying to get him to rumble in from about 6 or 7 yards out. A lot happening. I like the play design. Canes come up just short. I like the play design
a lot more when, in the end, it fools the defense and no one's out there to force the left tackle out of bounds as he's trying to rumble, as you talked about.
You love the big man touchdown. Didn't get it there. A 2-point play. Tech will get it after this studio update. Matt Berry, what do you got?
All right, guys, North Carolina, Wake Forest continues to just be back and forth. Sam Howell and De'Ami Brown, big day for both of those two. Right now, combined 76 points. Wake Forest still up 45-31 in the third.
How about the Deeks trying to get it done? North Carolina's been up and down in the same way that Virginia Tech has been up and down this season in the ACC.
That's a good point. And some of that has to do with what kind of defense is showing up, and does your high-powered offense turn the football over? I think those are the two keys for those two teams you mentioned.
Blackshear in the backfield will flank Hooker, and he'll get it on the quick toss. To the edge, driven backwards. No gain on the play. Miami sniffed that one out early, and that was Quincy Roche.
Hey, Philly, I might have the line of the year from our stats guru, Ed Svita. Throwing it to Zion Nelson, he says you never throw to a lineman when you also want him to run with the football. And I think that sums up that play exactly right.
2nd and 10. Here comes the heat. Hooker's going to be bottled up and sacked behind the 20. Jalen Phillips, number 15, the UCLA transfer. Back-to-back standout games now for number 15 for the U.
We haven't heard from Roche because of all the attention, but we are hearing from Phillips. We've seen Phillips looping inside a lot, and this time Phillips is just going to run the rail around the edge. And then you're going to have Brooks, the linebacker, kind of on a spy type of blitz once he sees that the quarterback is in trouble. But Phillips closes that one out.
Eric, what did you see in that last sequence?
After the play, there was a mix-up. Number 21, Bubba Bolden, one of the best safeties in college football, completely bailed out Virginia Tech there. They were facing a 3rd and very long.
And the penalty after the end of that play will give Tech a first down. Jonathan Ford, the stop of Hendon Hooker here.
And that's one of the areas, Ewood, that has really plagued Miami is some of the biggest boneheaded, undisciplined penalties that you will ever find, and Bolden just had one on that play before.
New life for Virginia Tech on this possession, which should be the final play of our third quarter. And the Hokies content to let time wind down. 24-19 our score. Miami on the ropes on the road in Blacksburg. last look at that play right before the end of the third quarter. Jalen Phillips gets the sack, Kelly, of Hendon Hooker, but watch Bubba Bolden about 25 yards down the field.
Yeah, and as the quarterback is getting sacked, it's just a senseless play. That's the boneheaded penalty that I'm talking about. And Bolden is a terrific player, but that was ultra selfish out of a really good safety for Miami.
On 2nd and 8, Gilbert Frierson with a tackle. It'll be 3rd down and long. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, Eric Wood, our final 15 minutes from Lane Stadium. Miami trying to remain in the ACC championship game hunt. A loss today would prove critical in those hopes. Still a long shot with Notre Dame and Clemson and what the Fighting Irish and Tigers are doing this season. Canes need a stop here on 3rd down. Hooker, here comes the pressure. Far side, Holston makes one man miss, and that's a 1st down and a big play for Tech.
And Philly, this is where Hooker has advanced tremendously in his game, is just diagnosing the pressure and getting it to your outlet receiver, Holston. Even though Holston isn't beyond the line to gain, give your guy a chance by making the right decision. And then it's yards after catch, and they convert anyway. That's great stuff.
Play action as Hooker looks to go deep and incomplete. Miscommunication perhaps, or a penalty, as DJ Ivey can't believe the laundry on the field.
Pass interference, defense number 8. Penalties 15 yards, 1st down.
And Manny Diaz pleading his case. Big possession for Virginia Tech, trying to extend this advantage.
And it's on Caleb Smith down below. The ball is in the air, and how about the contact? I'm not so sure that Smith didn't get off balance all on his own. There was contact initially, which I think was within the play. And then Smith is going to the ground, and it didn't seem like Ivey was the instigator of it late. I don't know about that call, to be honest with you.
I would agree. Khalil Herbert on the give. Gain 1. And penalties have really been an issue for Miami this season, Kelly, to your point earlier, and also especially today, trying to steal a win on the road and preserve this top 10 ranking.
And not every penalty is created equally, and Miami has some of the most horrendous penalties in critical situations. They're 108th coming into this game in penalties in the country, 11th in their own conference. That's dreadful.
Gallo in motion. They'll fake it to Herbert and set up the screen. Gallo has it. And brought down short of the 35. 3rd down upcoming to Corey Couch. The nice tackle in the open field. Take a look at our top 10 presented by Goodyear. Miami coming in at number 9, trailing. Indiana blasting Michigan State over on ABC, and the Hoosiers. Tom Allen, one of the big stories in college football this year. Big win coming up later today. Notre Dame on the road against Boston College in the red bandana contest. And then Hooker sent down short of the original line of scrimmage to Corey Couch. A big stop, and Silvera met him in the backfield as well. It'll be 4th down.
And 3rd in a medium situation is a great time for Hendon Hooker to keep the football on a design quarterback power run. But Silvera is going to work down the line of scrimmage, keep his feet, and finish the play on the quarterback. Good stuff by a defensive tackle working hard, and Hooker did not get up quickly after that hit by Silvera.
And with that play, it'll force a Virginia Tech punt. Huge sequence for the Hurricanes defense, perhaps a bigger one for Virginia Tech special teams. It's a punt of 33. And poor field position for the U. Back in Blacksburg, Virginia, it's time now for today's Aflac trivia question. And as we take a look, De'Aaron King had 400-plus passing yards last week, 100-plus rush yards. Kelly, who are the other two ACC quarterbacks to do the same thing?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm not good at this. I go ahead and default to you.
I would think maybe Russell Wilson at NC State before he transferred, as Miami's going to lose a couple of yards here. And then also,
give me Louisville's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
I'll take
Lamar Jackson
as one.
Maybe Taj Boyd from Clemson about 7 or 8 years ago. We'll see. A couple of good guesses on 1st and 12. King heaves one incomplete. It'll be 2nd down. Looking for Mark Pope.
I think King leads this one a little bit too far out of bounds. Does Pope get his feet in? No possession, no ball, clear out of bounds. There's no question about that one.
Give a lot of credit to this Virginia Tech secondary today. They have made plays without some key players. Hewitt, the tackle against Cam Harris.
And Roy, once again though, remember how this backed up drive started for Miami. A pre-snap penalty. All you have to do is remember the snap count, and Miami couldn't do it. It got them behind the chains before they ever took a snap on this drive, and then they're 3rd and 8, and they have been dreadful in this down and distance throughout this game.
Pistol look for De'Aaron King.
That's why De'Aaron King came to Miami, right, Philly?
That's right. There's no doubt. Canes 5 of 13 on 3rd down. Harris swings out, and he dropped it. Not sure he could have made the line to gain, no matter which way you slice it. Pressure was coming. 3 and out for Miami.
3 and out in a backed up situation. And this is the right play, just poorly executed. The swing screen on the anticipated pressure that Virginia Tech was bringing, but it just was poor execution. Harris is not the greatest of receivers out of the backfield, and that was a poor pass by King.
Good afternoon for Lou Headley, former Australian rules football player. And he sends it deep. Blackshear will stay out of the way. So we check in again with Matt Berry.
Guys, West Virginia looking good today against TCU in that cluttered up Big 12. Jarrett Dagan to TJ Simmons. Watch the grab by Simmons. Defender, son, and ball. 24-6 Mountaineers.
Neil Brown trying to get it done in year 2 as we take a look at the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Let's see how we did.
Was Michael Vick in there? Was he in the ACC, or was that old school?
That was Big East.
That was Big East, so that wouldn't count. Can I roll him over into? Oh, there you go. You guys double teamed it.
We nailed it, and Hendon Hooker throws the pass incomplete. Good job, E. Wood. It was all you and me on that sequence.
Well, yeah, I didn't realize that I could.
If I would have missed the Louisville one, that would have been a bad thing.
Yeah, that would have been bad. I didn't realize I could phone a friend. No one told me. I thought I was doing this myself. What is that all about? I still go with Michael Vick.
Yeah, I would have thought Russell Wilson could have slipped in there too before he transferred to Wisconsin and took the Badgers to the Rose Bowl. The jet sweep action as Robinson picks up a couple. It'll quickly bring up 3rd down. It was stopped by Sam Brooks for Miami. 3rd down and 5 now, Kelly.
Yeah, and that's an area of the game that Virginia Tech has had that Miami hasn't consistently. When you're 2nd and behind the sticks, how do we get in 3rd and more manageable? Virginia Tech has been able to run the ball effectively in that down and distance, as they did right there.
3-man front for the Hurricanes. Brooks standing up. And they'll bring pressure on the weak side. Hooker with time. Eludes one defender and flings it incomplete. So Miami's defense stands tall once again. And this has become a punting contest in our 4th quarter.
And it was a good job by Miami on the back end in a zone situation. And I think that caught Hooker off guard to some extent. They expected pressure, really only brought 5, covered with 6, and nobody was there to throw the football to, but a good decision in the end to get the ball out of bounds by Hooker.
An important possession upcoming for the Hurricanes. Injury timeout. We'll step aside, take one with them.
ESPN College Football is presented by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance. And in part by Duluth Trading Company. Tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen.
Sunsplash Saturday afternoon. Miami set to get the football back as a fair catch called for and made at the 19-yard line. Big possession now for De'Aaron King, Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, Eric Wood. Lane Stadium not rocking how it normally is this time of year. Only 1,000 fans in attendance. And De'Aaron King trying to work his magic once again in the fourth quarter. As the handoff goes to Donald Chaney for big yardage. Give him 9 on first down, Kelly.
And Philly, don't you just have the sense that this is why De'Aaron King came to South Beach? For a drive just like this, a Power 5 school on the road?
Well, he recited the story to us yesterday, watching the national championship between LSU and Clemson. He wanted to be on the big stage. Canes are inside the top 10, only 1 loss. And he has thrived in this moment so far this season, late in games.
And King has the sense of something special in these type of moments. You're exactly right.
And on the handoff, he'll gain a couple, Eric.
Virginia Tech has done a great job of taking away De'Aaron King's running game today. Coming into this game last week, he had 105 yards on the ground. Last week against Liberty, Virginia Tech's defense gave up 108 yards on the ground to quarterback Malik Willis. Coming into the game, thought that Virginia Tech would be very vulnerable with a De'Aaron King run, and so far they've held him to just 7 yards on the day.
And a long run of just 10 in this game so far for De'Aaron King. The rest of that yardage subtracted via sacks. Around the edge, almost as if he hurt us that time, Kelly. On 2nd and 8, he'll gain 7.
Well, in the past, that's how De'Aaron King has actually gotten his rush yards, is the scramble yards off of design pass plays, just like we saw there.
Miami at the 39. Harris picks up the first down. Check that, Donald Chaney churning the legs that time and stopped at the 44.
And Roy, to Eric's point, if you want your playmaker to touch the football, design a run for De'Aaron King in a situation like this so the defense can't take the ball out of your quarterback's hand.
Chaney again to the edge and a punishing finish on first down. Dax Hollyfield with a tackle. Chaney picked up 3 yards there.
And we have to keep in mind that Virginia Tech has held up really well outside in press man situations against a gaggle of Miami receivers that have made plays. So don't fall asleep on press coverage outside. Right now it looks like a too high safety look, giving help over the top.
First pass of the drive. Swing pass to Mike Harley, stopped short. It'll be 3rd and less than a yard. Rayshard Ashby with the tackle, Eric Wood.
Yeah, on the day, Virginia Tech has done a great job of keeping the ball in front of them. As Kelly just mentioned, there's a lot of press, but that's going into bail. It's going into zone. This is not the old Bud Foster defense. They're keeping everything in front of them and limiting the big plays for Miami.
Great spot for the Canes on that last play. It looked like he was stopped short instead of first down. King, quick toss. D. Wiggins, close to another first down along the near side. Let's see where they spot this one.
I think Wiggins is going to be about a half a yard short. but indeed it looks like the spot's going to give Miami the football.
And the tempo will prevent a replay review once again. Harris keeps the play alive and then stopped. The turf monster got him that time. No gain on the play.
And Eric, another part of this game that I think Miami's doing a decent job with is they're going to the run-pass option game in their pass game as opposed to drop-back passing. To some extent, it doesn't nullify that defensive line for Virginia Tech, but it certainly takes the edge off of those edge rushers.
Manny Diaz searching for answers on the sideline. King, the RPO, and there's another big play. Mark Pope to the end zone for the touchdown. And the first lead of the afternoon for number 9 Miami.
Well, Roy, we were just talking about that. Rhett Lashley going to the RPO. The fake inside brings the second level defender up, leaving nobody underneath the slant by Pope. And De'Aaron King can run that concept really well. He's very used to that, going clear back to high school, and you saw it on that play.
Canes will go for 2 after their first play over 20 yards of this game. King will buy some time. End zone and incomplete. Holyfield got a couple of fingertips on it, swatted it away at the last moment. And the Magic Man getting the job done once again. De'Aaron King to Pope, and Miami out in front. Time in Blacksburg, VA, 25-24. Miami, number 9 in the land, leading Virginia Tech for the first time after Mark Pope scampered in from 36 yards out. And the touchback as we check in again with Matt Berry back in the studio.
All right, guys, Penn State trying to hang in there with Nebraska. Devin Ford punches it in. And right now, a one-score game. Nittany Lions down 7 midway through the fourth.
Penn State coming back in Lincoln. Hendon Hooker back on the field in Blacksburg. And Kelly, he faces a deficit for the first time. What's the mentality on this possession for the Hokies?
Well, there's a ton of time left, so I think the mentality is business as usual. Hooker himself has been very efficient in the pass game, as you can see, and a tremendous runner of the football as well.
He'll fake the toss and look to go deep. Smith was there, but this pass is going to be picked off to Corey Couch. And a big play for the Miami defense just when it needed it the most.
Well, one of the few times of the day that I think the play calling has gotten out of hand just a little bit by Virginia Tech. You don't need this right now. You need to methodically drive the ball because that's your personality anyway. But it's play action on the fake pitch and then trying to go deep, which I believe is only the second time that Hendon Hooker has tried to do that today. That wasn't necessarily the time for a play like that.
And the turnover chain. Iteration 4.0 on to Corey Couch as he records his first interception of the season. That ball was tipped and nearly picked off. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Miami.
That was the same version of the run pass option that King threw the touchdown pass to Pope on the series before. And this is what I thought Miami could have gotten to maybe a little bit earlier. When you have a run pass option, it's the best of both worlds. You literally have the offensive line blocking for a run, and you have the potential to throw the football because your quarterback makes the decision off of one defender, and King is very good at doing that.
First turnover of the game for either side. 2nd down and 10 for Miami. King pulls it out. Sandwich between 2 defenders. Dax Holyfield again with another tackle behind the line.
In that last scoring drive where Miami scored, they didn't have any negative plays. And Virginia Tech has had a boatload of negative plays today. Holyfield has this one. And that design just did not look good. King had a personal protector outside, so it was designed to go to the right, but it was not very well executed, to say the least.
Junior from Shelby, North Carolina. 6 sacks for Virginia Tech today.
3rd and 15. Be careful right here if you're King.
And King will take off. Stopped well short, but a quality pickup. It'll force 4th down.
A good safe play by Miami, running the lead draw where King shows pass, and then his running back leads him on a draw play. So obviously extremely safe, and play field position right now if you're Miami.
What a huge stand for the Virginia Tech defense. Continuing
now
to do outstanding work.
Flash comes back out again.
Lou Headley, over 50 yards per punt so far. Great finish in store here in Blacksburg. More exciting college football action around the country. Back to Mac Berry.
Yeah, great finish in store for North Carolina Wake Forest. Tar Heels were down at one point 45-24. Sam Howell to Garrett Walston ties ACC touchdown passing record with 6 in a game, tied at 45 apiece.
More fireworks in Chapel Hill. 4 minutes to play here in Blacksburg. Same 2 teams will be on the ACC network next weekend. The Hokies in Pittsburgh to take on Kenny Pickett and the Panthers. That's at 4 Eastern. Then at 8, here at King, number 9 Miami will host Georgia Tech in the Ramblin' Wreck. Get to ACCN.com for instant access to the ACC network. Hokies take over on 1st down. Trey Turner still driving the legs, picks up 8, almost 9.
And plenty of time to just take what the defense gives you, at least initially. And Virginia Tech has been at their best when they've done that this afternoon.
Plenty of time to work with. The field goal will give Khalil Herbert and Virginia Tech the lead. Playing here at home, and Herbert pushes the pile a couple of extra yards. Gilbert Frierson, the initial contact. It was not enough to make the stop, Eric.
Yeah, even without his top-end speed, Khalil Herbert, as we see, jog off very slowly to the sideline. Even without his top-end speed, he's still extremely effective because he's so patient and his vision is so great as a runner.
1st down for the Hokies, trailing by 1. This great rivalry dating all the way back to the days of the Big East Conference. Hooker escapes and finally is brought down by Jalen Phillips. Another TFL.
I know it's easier said than done that you cannot take a sack in this situation.
Injury timeout, so we step aside. Here's the lineup coming up tonight, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Number 13, Wisconsin takes on Michigan at the Big House. Then at 10, right here on ESPN, Terrence Crawford defends his WBO welterweight belt against Kell Brook live from Las Vegas. And we also have UFC. It's fight night in Vegas, only on ESPN+. Paul Felder takes on Rafael Dos Anjos, who moves down in weight in the lightweight main event. 1-point game in Blacksburg, 2nd and 15, and it's nearly intercepted. Bradley Jennings probably should have hauled that one in. Instead, he'll do push-ups after the miscue.
Well, Hooker had a receiver that was working further into the middle of the field. If you just wait a little bit, Travion Robinson will get into that next window. You don't need to throw the ball there. You feel the pressure. You have none. Wait for Robinson to get to the next window, and that is an easy conversion for Virginia Tech.
Hokies have 3 timeouts remaining. Under 3 to play, facing 3rd and long. Hooker needs 15, and he slipped and he fell. The pressure was coming in hot from the backside, and Hendon Hooker can't believe it.
And Hooker just blows a tire at an inopportune time. There's pressure coming to the left. Hooker was no doubt going to climb in the pocket, and there was man-to-man coverage on the back end because of this pressure, and Hooker potentially had some yards to run with it, but fell down anyway.
Hokies will be forced to punt on 4th and 24, and the fair catch will be made at the 43.
With the fair catch, about the 44-yard line.
Punt of 43 yards. Outstanding field position, Kelly, for De'Aaron King.
Well, De'Aaron King has demonstrated that he's a closer. He's a comebacker, but he's also a closer. And when Manny Diaz was looking for a quarterback to take over the quarterback room, De'Aaron King came a-calling. And this is the result right here, is to be able to close out games like this in the ACC with a 6-1 record and give yourself hope to still get to that title game, even though you now need help.
Harris in the backfield will get the call on 1st down. He'll cross the 45, stopped by Barno. And the Hokies will utilize a timeout. Well, it was a nail-biter last year, just like this game this season. Hokies bolted out to a 28-0 lead before Miami came roaring back. Touchdown run by Dallas. Bud Foster looking on, but the Hokies pulled away late on that touchdown as Miami came up empty in the end zone, essentially as time expired. 42-35 the final score. And so many games played like that for Justin Fuente's club since he took over 5 years ago, and especially, Kelly, between these two teams.
Yeah, and that was Hendon Hooker's first start as well, and a lot of water under the bridge since then. But Justin Fuente at 4-3, his club typically has responded in matchups like this after a gut-wrenching loss to Liberty a week ago, and we've seen that today. We've seen more of who Virginia Tech wants to be.
A handoff, the A-gap run, another short game. Hokies will use one more timeout to force 3rd down. 2 great college football matchups headed your way, starting this afternoon over on ABC. Notre Dame, number 2 in the country, travels to Chestnut Hill to face off with Boston College, the red bandana game, and later tonight, Michigan and Wisconsin. The Badgers back in action after their lone win of the season several weeks ago. Jim Harbaugh needs a win. We've documented that throughout this past week. 3rd and 5 here, Kelly.
Notre Dame club, Roy, is how do they respond? Do they have a Clemson hangover? And certainly this Miami club would like Notre Dame to be thinking about other things other than BC, but I think a good use of the timeouts to begin with. Virginia Tech still has one, and Virginia Tech's defense simply has to bow up right here.
It all comes down to this. Harris in the backfield. King will run it, trying to get to the edge, and he will not get there. Stuffed by Devin Taylor for the Hokies.
It wasn't a surprise that Miami was going to simply keep the ball in De'Aaron King's hand. This is just a buck sweep outside, led by Harris, the running back. But you have a lot of speed, especially on the edges for Virginia Tech, and that didn't have a chance. But King correctly kept in bounds and made Virginia Tech use their last time out.
Great penetration by the Hokies front four, and King was wise to stay in bounds there to force the Hokies to utilize that final timeout. And plenty of time remaining.
Yeah, you're right. I think the time isn't really the factor per se, although it's a prototypical 2-minute drive. But the field position's not going to be great, and Virginia Tech hasn't exactly been built to come back by throwing the football.
Hokies out of timeouts. Miami, just in case, still has all three.
An alert beamer ball right here with Virginia Tech trying to get a hand on this punt.
And Headley gets it out of there. Hurricanes bounce, and this ball will carry them all the way inside the 4, just outside of the 3, and Raheem Blackshear would like to have that sequence back.
Yeah, a 52-yard punt, and Headley gets it away, but this was very close. We talked about beamer ball, and just another half a step, and that would have been catastrophic for Miami, but Headley gets it off and then punches the 9-iron. Not at the Masters, but right here in Blacksburg for Miami.
On moving day, no less. 1st and 10, 1:45 to go. Miami holding on for dear life to this top 10 ranking. Hooker's going to be flush and flings it complete. Trey Turner, that'll move the chains ahead across the 20.
Move the change, the clock stops. You have to move with a sense of urgency. You have 0 timeouts left.
Pressure starting to mount for both sides. Snap came in low. And a quick whistle.
Snap infraction. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Brock Hoffman. We've seen these kinds of penalties be drive killers today. One more look at the snap.
Yeah, and this snap is low. No doubt about it, and very distracting. There was a double clutch on that snap as well by Hoffman. And there has to be a reset of the clock as well, because that was a false start, so no time should have ran off the clock, and there the 5 seconds goes back on.
Clock starts to wind. Virginia Tech taking its time, still deep in its own territory from the 18. Hooker's going to take off. And sent down hard crossing the 25. Amari Carter got there first for Miami. The clock continues to roll.
And that took too much time before the snap.
Gain of 9 yards, 2nd down and 6. Hooker back to the air. On the swing pass, Holston, who has 2 touchdowns today, the first 2 of the season for numeral 0. We'll pick up a couple of here, give him 3.
And Miami is playing 3 deep and kind of match reading the routes of receivers on the back end. Obviously, the goal right here is stay deep as the deepest, wide as the widest, and keep the ball in front of you if you're Miami defensively.
Got to think that Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche are going to pin their ears back. Pocket collapses, Hooker escapes, and he's got close to first down yardage. Let's see where they spotted a big call coming up, only 52 seconds remaining. And Virginia Tech gets a much-needed first down. It's been a rough week for Justin Fuente. Tough loss last week against Liberty. An in-state program on an uptick under Hugh Freeze. Had to answer a lot of questions this week surrounding that loss. A win today and a lot would be forgiven. Work to do for Hendon Hooker. He'll set up the screen. Herbert has it, gets a block, and ushered out short of the first down near the 40-yard line by Amari Carter.
And Miami doesn't really mind a play like that. They're playing a 3-deep zone on the back end, and all of the defenders have their eyes on the quarterback and therefore the eyes on the football, so they can respond very quickly up to that screen, and that wasn't that hurtful if you're Miami defensively.
2nd down and 3, the pump fake for Hooker. Pressure comes, Hooker's dragged down, and that's a big play there for Gilbert Frierson. Virginia Tech out of timeouts, quickly back to the line of scrimmage. Miami can taste it now. Hooker has his tight end. Dulius close to another first down. Let's see where they spot this one. Only 19 seconds remaining. And the clock
goal
stops.
Here now probably turns to getting close enough to be able to throw it in the end zone as Virginia Tech looks to kill the football.
Well, Brian Johnson, the place kicker, he's a fifth-year senior, Kelly. His long field goal this season, 55 yards at North Carolina. So he does have ample leg strength, but you're talking about getting the football inside the 40, really down to the 35 to feel
really
comfortable for Justin Fuente.
Yeah, advancing to make it realistic, another 20 to 22 yards.
Timeout. Miami. First charge timeout. Timeout will be 30 seconds.
And Roy, the question becomes, if you're Virginia Tech offensively, as we see Brian Johnson warming up the long of 55, is where you're going to get your yards at this point in time. He already missed a 54-yard field goal attempt today. And Miami is playing the sidelines and they're playing deep, wanting you to throw the football in the middle of the field. What you can do is get the ball to the middle with 16 seconds left and hurry up and spike the ball. So Miami defensively can't get too soft inadvertently.
16 seconds remaining in this great rivalry matchup. So many games played exactly like this going back to the early 1990s. Manny Diaz told us this week it's been a rough year for all of us. Justin Fuente said it's been the hardest year, the most he's ever gone through as a head coach that he can remember. It all comes down to these final 16 seconds. Middle of the field wide open. Hooker surveys and has to fling that one out of bounds at the last minute. And Kelly, he's fortunate to get rid of the football.
And he was in the pocket, threw the football away, but there was an eligible receiver in the area. And you simply cannot hold the football in a pass situation against this defensive front for Miami.
Hokies need to go 20 yards and get out of bounds. That last pressure coming from Jade Silvera. Third down. Four-man pressure. Hooker's got to fling it deep across the middle and incomplete. 5 seconds remaining. So what's the thinking here? A heave to the end zone?
Yeah, a heave to the end zone or some exotic play where you have multiple laterals. So you don't have time, obviously, to get the ball advanced a little bit and spike the ball. You don't have time. 5 seconds, no timeout. So that's off the board. Now it's a matter of either Hooker has the ability to throw a Hail Mary jump ball from this place on the field or multiple laterals to try to pull out a miracle in Blacksburg.
It all comes down to this. Miami brings pressure. We'll lateral it back to Caleb Smith. And that's going to do it. Miami on the road improves to 7-1. The final stop by Jalen Phillips. Manny Diaz, all smiles. And the final score 25-24 as the U finds a way to win it at Lane Stadium.
Well, Philly, Manny Diaz was elevated from defensive coordinator to head coach to win games just like this. You know, think back to 2017. Miami's program was 10-0, and they slid down the stretch. They couldn't get over the hump. This is one of those hump type of games. Difficult opponent on the road after a really bad loss a week ago, and Virginia Tech was up to the task, but Miami had one more play because of De'Aaron King, the confidence he brings to this program currently.
Manny Diaz told us this week our battle cry, winning is simple, it's just never easy. We saw that today in Blacksburg. 25-24 the final score as we send you back to the studio and Matt Berry.
Phil Pott, thank you. Coming up in about 7 minutes.